Hi everyone, this is Joseph from English with Joseph, and welcome again to my daily podcast. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Joseph. My name is Joseph McTaggart. I am an English teacher. I'm also an author, a voice actor, a voice coach, and many other things as well. Okay, so I'm here today to give you another tip about learning English, and today's tip really is about the use of timelines. Timelines are fantastic things. You know, when you're learning tenses, you normally have a big book, and the book says, present tense, I am, he, she is, you are. And then you have the past tense, I was, he, she was, you are. And then you have the future tense, I will be, he will be, she will be, you will be. And before you know it, you have a lot of papers with all these tenses, and you think, how do I get them from the paper into my head? I have a lot to learn, and it's such a waste of paper. And there's other ways you can do it. There's always other ways you can speak. Okay, there's always other ways you can learn. One is by speaking. I love to learn by speaking, and I'm a big advocate. I support a lot the idea of moving away from books and into the idea of talking. Okay, so I'd like you to keep that in mind. You don't have to learn traditionally. You can learn with audio, by audiobooks, instead of worrying about paper, because I know for me that's a preferred way, and it always comes by hearing. If you want to be religious about it, the Bible says faith comes by hearing, and indeed so does everything else. Today I want to show you a way of learning tenses easily so you can see them at a glance, and that's by using a timeline. Now, I encourage you to draw your own timeline and to use little sticky markers to show you easily on that timeline where each of the marks are. Now, I have these little, these little post-it sticky things. Let me show you one moment. These are fabulous things. I love these. See these little sticky things, and you put them in your book, and then they become markers. Like you can see, my book there is all marked up. Okay, so they're wonderful, and I would encourage you to use them when you're drawing and making your timeline. Your timeline you should be very proud of. So let me show you a brief one to show you what I'm talking about. So, blank piece of paper and a line. Okay, it's not a straight line, I admit, but it's our timeline. Okay, so here we have a line. In the middle of this line, I'm going to mark the present, and at the two ends, I'm going to mark the future and the past. Okay, there we are. So I have the present, I have the past, I have the future, and you can make your timeline as big and elaborate as you want, or as small as you want. Okay, you can see I have two arrows going away from the present, one into the past, one into the future, and I'm going to mark on here the present perfect and the past perfect. Okay, so already you have a line now which is showing you the present to the past, the present to the future, and it has the present perfect and the past perfect. Okay, so remember, this can move. I can say, 1 moment ago I was in my kitchen. But if I want to talk using the present perfect, the order, of course, is this. And at a glance, you can see where the present perfect continuous it would be. For example, I am an English teacher. I have been an English teacher for 20 years, which is the space between these 2 points. Okay. Before that, I had been working in radio, for example. Okay. And before that, I was at university. So you can see how my story of who I am or what I do for a living and my work history fits in. And you have to use the perfect tenses to talk about experience, because experience isn't really something you can put in a box. It's not something with a start and an end date. It's not something you can measure. So the past tense is not really applicable. So as you can see, the past tense is over here. And you have I am, I have been, I had been, and I was. Okay. To make it more elaborate towards the future, you could have the future perfect in here. I will have that done by. Okay. And then you can grow this as much as you want. Remember, this is for the real tenses. Okay. You could do another line at the top here to talk about the unreal, the conditional, if I had been, and you can match it up with the tenses that you would be using here, you know. So this is a timeline, and whatever pedagogical structure you want to use to learn with, it's important that you find it and use it. Reading from books is a bit dry and can be a bit academic and horrible, and I would strongly advise you to find your own structure that you can use. You can group your words together by mind mapping. That's another way it's another type of structure of learning. I'd advise you to look into that as well. Or you can use blocks, to show your progress. You could draw a grid, and in each box, for example, if you had a box 4x4 with 4 columns and 4 parts, you can easily chart vocabulary or how you're doing. So this is, anyway, getting back to the timeline, this is just one way of how you can use English learning. The timeline clearly shows things at a glance. I can see, present tense, past tense, future tense, and these two fit in between. So do encourage yourself to learn differently. English is not all about dry learning from books. I know from experience that some people would just like to try to speak from reading, and that's never going to happen. You need to be engaging and talking. Okay, so there's 101 different ways that you can learn. That's an English expression for many. 101. I don't mean literally there's 101. It's an idiom. If you have a choice to make, and there's many things, you can say, there's 101 ways, I don't know which one to choose. Probably there's only 10 or 11. But actually, in learning, there's, I think they say about 12 or 13 ways to learn. So you need to find what's right for you. And to learning in other ways aside from words, very nice, very nice. Okay, that's all from me today. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Any feedback, please do let me know. My email is mctaggartj7@gmail.com. Skype, English with Joseph. Facebook, facebook.com/English with Joseph. I'm also on Twitter, mctaggartj7. I'm also on Amazon. My book page you can get through my blog, which is at englishwithjosephblog.wordpress.com. Or you can just leave me a comment here on Dailymotion. Okay, so I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye and have a nice day.